with explaining this part. Let's start by explaining this part. There is a time whereby you're going to be given something like this. F of x is equals to negative x squared plus 4. Or g of x is equals to 2x plus 4. But now the problem is, what does this f of x mean? What is it doing here? F of x is the same as y. G of x is the same as y. I can even say p of x. I can still say r of x, as long as I'm talking about the graph. So basically, when you see this thing, then you need to know that that is y. The same happens if you see f of x, you know that you are seeing y. So if I'm saying to you k of x is equals to 3x plus 1, when you interpret to someone who doesn't know, just say y is equals to 3x plus 1. You interpret as y is equals to 3x plus 1. That's how you can interpret it. But remember, the reason I'm explaining this is because that is what you're going to get in the exam. For you to be able to differentiate, because this is y and this is also y. But the question, which y are we talking about? So now, allow me to say here, I'm going to say that is our f of x, and then that one is going to be our g of x. Remember, f of x and g of x is the same thing. I mean, when I'm saying it's the same thing, I mean like they represent y. I don't mean like they're the same because the same graph. No, I'm not saying that. I mean it's the same thing because they represent y. They represent y. So even though I wrote like this yesterday as the homework, can you please allow me to remove that part and also this part and write f of x there, and then this one g of x, f of x and g of x, f of x and g of x, to differentiate between which graph I'm talking about. When I'm saying f of x, you should be knowing that I'm talking about the parabola in this case. If I'm saying g of x, you should be knowing that I'm talking about the straight line in the case of this example. Remember, it's not always going to be like this. It can be different. They can say g of x meaning the parabola there. But I'm saying this because I want us to carry over from what we've been doing. All along I've been saying y is equals to, because I wanted you to understand what do I mean when I'm saying y. So when now you know that even if I write f of x is equals to, I'm still saying the same thing as y is equals to. Okay. Now remember, when we draw the graphs, we're looking for the x-intercept and also the y-intercept. If we're looking for the x-intercept, let's take f of x. If we're looking for the x-intercept, I said the easiest one always to find. The simplest and easiest to find always is the y-intercept. Y-intercept. Let's use the f of x. Y-intercept on f of x. Y-intercept on f of x. So if I'm looking for the y-intercept, what must I do on f of x to get the y-intercept? I'm waiting for the answer. What must I do on f of x to get y if I'm looking for the y-intercept? Are you quiet because you're offline, or you're quiet because you don't want to answer? What is going on today? Are you still there? If you're still there, just say yes, I'm still there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know my people are still there. My question is, what must I do on f of x so that I can get y equals to something. I said yes. I had two people talking. Can we start with you, Mbata?
So I think let x be 0.
Okay. In space of y, we're going to put 0. Let x be equals to 0. So remember, I said f of x is y. So allow me to say y equals to. Yes, we know it's f of x, but allow me to say y. Y is equals to negative. In space of x, I put 0 squared plus 4. Then my y will be how much? Y will be equals to how much? Someone talk to me.
4.
Positive 4. Then my coordinates will be x is 0 and y is positive 4. On the same graph, let's just get the x-intercept. X-intercept. Let's get the x-intercept on the same graph on f of x. If we're looking for the x-intercept, what do we do? Anyone?
Let y be 0.
Let y be equals to 0. In space of y, let it be 0. So I'm going to say we've got y is equals to negative x squared plus 4. But I know that this y, I must put 0 there. So I'm going to remove y. In space of y, I put 0. So I'm going to put 0 there, 0. Now, someone help me. What should I do? I need to move on to solve for x. Y is gone. Now I'm left with x. What must I do? Anyone?
Sir, I think we can open two brackets there.
Open two brackets, yes. So I'm going to open two brackets. Yes, I do that. Then
X plus 2.
x plus 2. I want to agree with
Negative x is there.
I want to agree with you, but now I've got a problem here. Did you notice that also?
It's you put negative x plus 2.
Negative x plus my writing. Let me rewrite that. She's saying negative x plus 2 and
X plus 2.
x plus 2. Negative x plus 2 and x plus 2. Okay. Now, if I check the middle term, is my middle term going to be 0? Yes, it's going to be 0. Right? If I check the first term, is it going to be x squared? Yes, it's going to be x squared. My last term, is it going to be 4? Yes, it's going to be 4. Okay. Now, let's continue from there. If I take it the way she's saying, someone can say, but Mina, I don't understand this factorizing the way it's done. Someone can say, okay, because of what is written here, let me start by saying transpose x squared. I'm going to have x squared minus 4 equals to 0. Then I know I'm going to factorize like that. But someone can say, no. Let me divide by 0, divide by negative 1 equals to x squared divided by negative 1 plus 4 divided by negative 1. Oh, there's a negative there. Then you are left with x squared minus 4. I'm trying to say it's better to work with the x squared that is positive. I agree with these vectors. I agree. Because as I'm double checking, they're giving us what we want. but it's better to work with the x squared that is positive. So, and someone can still say, let me transpose x squared. Let me transpose x squared. Then I'm going to have x squared is equals to 4. Then put the square root both sides. My answer will be x is equals to a plus or a minus 2. So you guys can see that there are many ways to simplify this thing to get the value of x. But I'm saying the best way is to work with the positive x squared. So allow me to say, if I divide by negative x here, I mean negative 1, sorry, I'm going to have positive x squared minus 4, which is equals to 0. Then I can write the factors like this: x plus 2 and x minus 2, which the answers will be x is equals to negative 2 or x is equals to positive 2. And my coordinates will be x is 0, x is negative 2, sorry for that guys, x is negative 2, x is negative 2 and y is 0. And then the other one, x is how much? 2 and y is how much? 0. Now on this graph, I know the y-intercept, it's 0 and 4, because I know my graph is going to pass at that coordinates where x is 0 and y is 4. I know my x-intercept, x is negative 2, another x is positive 2. So I know that. I can draw the graph immediately. Let's just draw the graph to avoid complicating our lives. Let's just draw the graph, and then from there we can talk about it after that. If we draw the graph, that is the graph of f of x. Remember what I used to say about the numbers. You guys can write the numbers because you'll be using a ruler. Myself, can I just write what I have here? I've got negative 2, I've got positive 2, and then I've got positive 4. If I may ask, let me go back to the graph. If I may ask, is the graph going to face up or is going to face down? Is it going to face up or is going to face down? Remember, I explained that the graph can either face up or it can face down. I explained that. So is it going to face up or is going to face down?
Down, sir.
Why should it face down? What is the reason?
Because the gradient is negative.
Yes, we've got negative a there. The value of a is negative. Remember that I shown you that the the standard form of writing this will be a x squared plus b. So our a is negative. That is why the graph is going to face down. That is why the graph is going to face down. Now, the graph is facing down, but it's touching 3 points. Which point is touching? Can I remove this one here and bring it closer? I feel like it's too far. That's why you guys, I'm saying you must use a ruler when you're drawing, because at least for you it will be it will make sense somehow. Okay, myself here, I'm gonna go like that, and then I'm going down, and then I'm gonna go like that, also going down. There is my graph there. If I write the coordinates here, they are 2 and 0. If I write the coordinates here, they are negative 2 and 0. If I write the coordinates here, they are positive 4, 0. Sorry for that. We start with x always. 0 and positive 4. Now, I'm done with this graph. But the question said, draw the two graphs on the same set of axes. Draw those two graphs on the same set of axes. Now, if I have to draw that on the same set of axes, since I'm done with the first graph, which is f of x, can we now work on the g of x? Our g of x, let's find the intercept on g of x. Now our focus is on g of x. I believe you should agree with me to say I do the same thing. In space of y, let there be 0. I mean in space of x. I didn't want to say let x equals to 0, but I believe people memorize well when I'm saying let x be equals to 0. Okay. X is 0 value. So when you say let, it's like you're saying I assume that it is. No, we're not assuming. It is 0. It is 0. So even if you didn't say let x equals to 0, but we know in space of x is 0, because on the y-axis x is 0, on the x-axis y is 0. Okay, now we've got our graph, which is g of x is equals to 2x plus 4. But which one are we going to put at 0 here? We're going to put x as 0. So remind me, okay, allow me, not remind me, allow me to say I'm going to put 0 there where there is x. So I'm going to remove x and put 0 in the brackets. So to make my life easy to understand what I'm working with, allow me to say I'm going to put y there, because f of x, g of x, y, p of x, r of x, all those things, they still mean y. So I'm going to write y there. But y of what? Y of the g of x that I'm working with. So my answer will be y is equals to how much? Someone who did press the calculator? Anyone? What is the answer?
4.
Y is positive 4. So my coordinates are going to be x is 0 and y is positive 4. X is 0, y is positive 4. If you've got a question, please stop me before I confuse you worse. If you've got a question at any point, just say, and then I'll give you the attention, and then I can help you on what to say or how to answer whatever question that you want to ask. Okay, here we've got x-intercept again, x-intercept. If we're looking for the x-intercept, we're still working on g of x. If we're looking for the x-intercept, we've got y is equals to 2x plus 4. So you need to remember that I'm going to put 0 in space of y. So allow me to remove someone will be saying, but why didn't you write let x equals to 0? I do that for explanation purpose. When you understand, I don't write. Okay, anyone who can explain to me what do we do from here? Someone carry over, please. What do we do? Can I get someone to help me? Yes, I'm
What
listening.
do you transpose to x?
Transpose to x. Yes, we can transpose to x, or we can transpose 4. It's up to us. Let's transpose 4. So we're going to have negative 4 is equals to positive 2x. Then what would be my next step? What should I do from here?
Divide by 2x.
Divide by 2, not by 2x. We're solving for x. So we'll
That's
divide
2.
by 2. Yes. Divide by 2 both sides. Then we've got the value of x. X will be how much?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Then the coordinates will be x is negative 2 and y is 0. Now I've got the x-intercept and the y-intercept on g of x. Then I can draw that graph. Remember, this graph here that we have here, that is our f of x. Now we are drawing the g of x. Our g of x is going to touch at this point where x is negative 2. It's also going to touch at this point where y is positive 4. So if I can allow me to draw, then that is what we have there. We've got something like that. Okay. Wow, I was trying to force it to be a straight line. Now it's very straight, the way I want it to be. Okay, so okay, I think it's better. It's doing what I want. Okay, I'm trying to put it perfect, but now it doesn't want to be very perfect. Oh, yeah, 100%. Now it's good. Okay, now it's very good. It's touching on those 2 points. that we're talking about. That graph there is our g of x. So we've got two graphs, f of x and g of x. What did I do? I've drawn the two graphs on the same set of axes. I've drawn the two graphs on the same set of axes. Now, if I can say what is the domain, domain, domain on the f of x. What will be the domain on the f of x? Someone who remembers? Looking at f of x, what will be the domain of f of x?
It's gonna be -2 and +2, sir.
Negative 2 and positive 2. Thank you for that. Uh, though I would say, yes, I agree, but this graph can still go like that. It can still go like that. It can still continue and then go like that, and then it can still go like that. So basically it includes all the values of x. I understand what you are saying. You are saying -2 and +2, but now check. If I draw this graph very nicely the way I have to draw it, if you check here, this point here, it's -2. I agree. But at this point, the graph exists, and that is not -2. That is not -2. If we check this side, if I do that, that graph there, it's 2. But if I check at this point, it can't be 2. So it means it can be any value that is bigger than 2. Meaning this graph, if I draw it nicely, it goes like that. It goes like that. And when it goes like that, it means it covers all the x values. X is the element of real numbers, or x lies between negative infinity and positive infinity. Someone can do it like that. X lies between negative infinity and positive infinity. So can we leave it as x is the element of real numbers? What would be the range? What would be the range? Okay, let's talk about the domain of of g of x. Let's talk about the domain of g of x. The straight line graph. What would be the domain of the straight line graph? If you check, is the same graph, it's the same thing also. It's also going like that. So it can touch at any point of x and any point of y. Any point of x, any point at any positive point of x and at any negative point of x. So I'm also going to say x is the element of real numbers. You can't say -2 and 0, because yes, the graph is touching at -2, we can see that. But what about this point? There is this graph does exist at this point. What about this point? The graph does exist at this point. So for the fact that there are arrows, it's saying the graph exists at any point as long as we continue like that, like that, like that. So because the graph exists at those points, I'm gonna leave it like that and say x is the element of real numbers. Then what about the range? Range. I'm gonna give you the range for the g of x. You will give me the range for the f of x. The range for the g of x. The g of x, like I said, you can see, guys, it's going like that. So it's equal at any point on this line. At any point on this line, the graph is there. Okay, sorry for that, guys. The graph is there at any point on this line. There is y here. Y y mon at any point here. Even here, at any point y is there. So for the fact that y is available at any point where the graph is existing, then I'm saying, let us say y is the element of real numbers from negative infinity to positive infinity. Y is the element of real numbers. You guys remember what I used to say and I said yesterday. You can say x is between negative infinity and positive infinity. But even if you say element of real numbers, you're including all the values. So you guys, can you please tell me the range of the f of x? Range of f of x. I'm listening. What will be the range of f of x? What will be the range of f of x? If you're still there, just say I'm still there so that I can know that I'm not left alone. Are we still there?
Yes.
Okay. What will be the range? Take a guess, or if you understood what I said yesterday, take a guess on what will be the range of f of x. Remember, f of x is the parabola graph, the red one.
So won't they be the same?
No, in this case, they can't be the same because the graph is existing up to this point. At any point going down, the graph is there. At any point, any point. But what about the y values above here? Does the graph exist at any point this side? No.
No.
So the graph cannot go that side. I can't include that part.
So isn't it y is less than or equal to 4?
Thank you. Because now the graph is there or it's existing. I'm using the word existing so that maybe I can cover you as we go to the next topics. The graph is there only where y is smaller than 4 or equal to 4. Only at that point. All the values that are smaller than this number, graph corner, it does exist. You can see the graph is there. But all the values that are above this line, there's no graph. It can't be there. It does not exist. So I'm not going to include all those values. I'm only including the values where the graph is existing. But remember, I'm talking about the y values where the graph is existing. That's why I'm saying all the values of y that are smaller than 4 or equal to 4. And we guys know that all these values that are here, they are all smaller than 4. Questions? If we have, ask questions if you have, guys. Today I wanted us to talk about something new. I wanted to talk about something new today. Yes, please. I'm still there.
There, I didn't hear you correctly. There by the GX, where you YE or what is the YER?
Are you talking about this part? Are you referring to this, Livenia?
Which one, sir?
What I circled there, what I'm highlighting in green. Are you talking about this? Libenya?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Angiti, I'm talking about this graph, the black one. I'm talking about this graph. So, I'm saying on this graph, the black one, I'm saying the graph, it does exist at any point. At any point. That's why I'm drawing an arrow. I'm saying that the arrow says the graph continues like that, like that. So the graph does exist at any point here. Now, if I'm saying the graph does exist at any point, I'm saying Renaliena y mon. What is the value of y? I don't know, but we do have the value of y here. If I were to explain also with the value of x, x sinai at this point, because the graph does exist at this point, can I try to explain using I'm explaining the same thing. Can I try explaining use the red graph, this one? If I draw the graph, it's gonna continue like that. It's gonna continue like that. So if I were to check do I have the x value here? Yes, there is an x value. It means the domain does exist here. Do I have the y value at this point? At any point, yes. Even on this point, I do have the y value. But now let's check. Do I have the y value of the graph here? The answer is no. Why am I saying no? There is no graph here. It does not exist there. But down here, the graph does exist. It's just that I've shown with an arrow to say continue, 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 continue. Remember, you're writing on a very small page, guys. So if you are going to draw that on that small page, and then you draw it instead you do it like this, full page, and then you start there, and then you go like that, and then go like that on your page. Then imagine how many pages are you going to use. So the arrow is just saying continue like that, like that, like that. The graph is still continuing, going down like that. It's still continuing. So if it does continue, it means there is a value of y at this point. There is also a value of y at this point. But since we are saying there is no graph at this point, we can't say we do have the value of y on the graph. We can't say we do have the value of y on the graph at this point. That is why I'm saying for the first one, mind you, I was explaining the g of x, but I'm using the f of x. And again, if I'm going back to the g of x, the graph does exist at any point there. So we do have the value of, okay, sorry for that, guys. I was explaining at this point on the f of x. It means on the g of x, even at this point, we do have the value of y. But now on this one, it's there or throughout. That is why I'm saying y is the element of real numbers. Why am I saying that? Because I'm thinking about all the values of x from negative infinity. I mean the values of y, sorry. Values of y from negative infinity up to positive infinity. Negative infinity. So for me to shortcut the way of saying negative infinity to positive infinity, I'm saying y is the element of real numbers. I don't know. I know I explained a lot, but I don't know if I made some sense. Did I make some sense, Levenia? Levenia, you're still there? Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
That does it make sense? Okay, she's saying yes. Okay. Now, I don't know how many minutes we are remaining with, but today I wanted us to talk about a new concept. I'm saying a new concept because it's new to you guys. It's called point of intersection. How many minutes are we remaining with?
It's not showing.
Okay. Intersection. Anyone who can explain to me the word intersection? You guys are doing English. I don't know. Intersection, what does it mean?
Sir,
Yes, please.
is it where the graphs cross each other?
Oh, where they cross each other. Where they cross each other. Where they touch each
I'm
other.
asking.
I don't know. Is it where they cross each other? Is it going to be a conclusion? I want to know also. Someone else, Baloy is asking here, is it where the graphs are crossing each other? Is it like that? Yes, no. She's asking here. Wow, my.
Yes, sir, isn't it where it meets? Where the 2 points meet? Where the 2 lines meet?
Okay. She's saying yes. Baloy, what you are saying. Now, I'm going to say yes also. The point of intersection is where the graphs are crossing each other. So at that point, the graphs are crossing each other, and also at that point, the graphs are crossing each other. So those 2 points, they are called the point of intersection. Point of intersection. Now, how do I find the point of intersection? How do I find the point of intersection where the graphs meet or touch each other? To make my life easy, to find the point of intersection, I equalize the graphs. I've got two graphs here, which is f of x and g of x. G of x is equals to f of x, or f of x is equals to g of x. Same thing. We equalize the graphs. Why do we equalize the graphs? Guys, if you check, the x-intercept of the straight line is the same x-intercept of the parabola. Can we all see that? It's -2. The y, it means they are equal. That's why I'm equalizing. I'm explaining why I'm equalizing. The y-intercept of the parabola graph is the same as the y-intercept of the straight line. For the fact that they are equal, for me to find the point of intersection, mind you, I'm helping you to calculate it. Why? Because they're going to say determine the values of the point of intersection. This is what you're going to get in the exam. They are not going to write numbers there. They're just going to write A. They're not going to write numbers and write B, and then they're going to write C. Okay, can I give an example here? Let me give an example. We've got f of x and g of x there. Now, if you check, there are no numbers on the graph. Can we see that? Can we all see the two graphs?
Yes.
Do we see any number there?
No.
No numbers. So they are going to say find the coordinates of E and find the coordinates of A. And for the only way, the A, it's easy because you can say let x equals to 0 because it's the x-intercept. But for E, you can't say let x equals to 0 because that is not the x-intercept, that is not y-intercept. So the only way for me to find these coordinates is to equalize g of x equals to f of x, or f of x is equals to g of x. That is the only way for me to answer this question, the coordinates of E. I'm explaining that because now on our graphs there we wrote numbers. Maybe I might confuse someone. So on this one there are no numbers. I hope it makes sense what my explanation now. I'm saying if you're looking for the the point of intersection, equalize the graphs. So if we equalize the graphs, we've got -x squared plus, let me go back, I forgot the equations. F of x -x squared plus 4, -x squared plus 4, and then the g of x is 2x plus 4, f of x -x squared plus 4. Okay, now someone please help me. I want to solve for x here. What must I do? I want to solve for x. What must I do?
Equalize.
Yes, I did equalize. I want to know what is my next step after that.
So won't you transpose -x to 2x and +4 to the other side?
Okay, let's use the word transpose. If we transpose, collect the like terms. Let's just use the word collect the like terms. So if I collect the like terms, let's transpose x squared. Then I'm going to have x squared, and then transpose 4 also, -4, and then 2x plus 4 I don't transpose, so I'm going to have plus 2x plus 4 is equals to 0. Then I've got like terms here. X squared doesn't have a friend. I'm going to have x squared. Then I've got -4 plus 4. What is the answer? -4 plus 4?
0.
So I'm going to be left with plus 2x equals to 0. What do I do from here? I'm listening. What must I do from this step?
When you take out the common factor.
Okay, common factor. I was about to ask Kuku, do we see the common factor? I believe time is not on our side now. We've got x plus 2. Am I right if I write it like that? If I make a mistake, please tell me. Am I right? Then we've got x is
Yes.
equals to 0, or x is equals to negative 2. So if we check vele using what we were having here, the graphs are equal where x is negative 2. The graphs are equal where y is where x is positive, x is 0. What am I saying? Sorry for that, guys. X is 0, and also where x is negative 2. But the question is, how do I get y? For you to get y, use any of the two. You can either use g of x or f of x for you to get y. So we can say y is equals to 2x plus 4. But I remove x. In space of x, I substitute. If you guys remember simultaneous equation, I'm doing more or less the same thing. Okay, I substitute with 0, then I get y is equals to 4. Then I substitute the other one. I've got y is equals to, you can still substitute on x squared, negative x squared plus 4. 2, then I substitute with negative 2 plus 4, then I get y is equals to 0. Okay, so now I can write the coordinates that x is 0, it goes with y is 4. X is negative 2, it goes with y is 0. Those are the coordinates of the point of intersection. How many minutes are we remaining with?
7.
Okay. So that is the coordinates of the point of intersection. I was explaining the point of intersection. Point of intersection. You equalize the two graphs. I was showing why I'm saying they are equal, because of what we ourselves did. But as you check, guys, the question that you are going to do alone, it's not, there's nothing told that this and this are equal. I'm showing based on what we have here. Tina, what we did calculate, we realized that the graphs are equal at y equals to 4. They are equal also at x is equals to negative 2. But we did show also by calculation what are we calculating? We're calculating the point of intersection. That's what we're calculating, the point of intersection. So that is how we are going to answer a question related to the point of intersection. So far, now I know that my people know how to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the graphs. Yes?
Can you put down
Yes?
on the last statement or example? You said y is equals to 2 into negative 2 plus 4.
Yes.
We are looking for the y-intercept.
No. If we are looking for the y-intercept, we let x to be 0. If we are looking for the x-intercept, we say for y-intercept, x is 0. X-intercept, y is 0. What did I do here?
I get it.
Yes, on these 2 points, just to cover someone else, what I did on these 2 points, I substituted the x values so that I can get what? I can get the y values. Okay, I hope I make sense. Now, I was saying, I know that now every one of you know how to calculate the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the straight line and the parabola. And I know that everyone knows how to find the domain and the range. Please make sure of that one. And I know that you know how to draw the graph alone. One graph are graphs that you have to draw on the same set of axes. I know now you know that. And I also know that by now, by practice, you are going to be able to understand how to find the point of intersection. I know you're going to be able to find the coordinates of the point of intersection. Just analyzing this one very fast. The graph of f of x and g of x, they are sketched below. We can see that a and b, they are the x-intercept on the f graph. C and D are the y-intercept on both the graphs. And K is a point on G such that BK is parallel to the x-axis. We'll note that because there's 90 degrees there. And then they say F and G intersect at A and at E. So that is the only story you're told. And then from there, the first question, they say find the coordinates of C. The coordinates of C, are you going to look for the x-intercept or the y-intercept? Or the turning, what are we going to look for? C, the coordinates of C. What are we looking for? What is C? C, it's at which point? People are not talking and we don't have time. C is the y-intercept. So for you to answer C, you look for the y-intercept on the F graph, because C, you can see it's on the line of the y-axis. The second question, how many minutes are we remaining with?
3.
Okay. D, look at D. D is on the G graph. Is it the x-intercept or is the y-intercept? Guys, the x-intercept is the touching the x-axis. The y-intercept is touching the y-axis. So D, is D touching the x-axis or is touching the y-axis?
It's touching the y.
So that is the y-intercept. You look for the y-intercept, but on the G graph. And then calculate the length of CD. If you know the coordinates of D and you know the coordinates of C, then it's easy to calculate. We know on that line x is 0. So already we know x at D is 0, x at C is 0. Okay. Calculate the coordinates of B. B, is it the x-intercept or is the y-intercept?
X-intercept.
Thank you. So for you to calculate the coordinates of B and the coordinates of A, use the x-intercept. And then E is the point of intersection. And I'm going to end there because 5.6 will do on Monday. You guys can write everything up to 5.5 and show me. If you feel like you can manage to do 5.6, I'll be more than happy for that. From me, myself, and I, as usual, bye-bye. Till we meet again Monday.
Bye.
Bye-bye. On the Facebook also, on the Facebook, let me try to minimize that so that everyone can see. I don't know if you can be able to read that, but I hope you can. And then see the graphs. There is the questions there. Let me minimize again so that you can see the questions. If you're going to try, f of x is x squared minus 4. G of x is negative x plus 2. So you guys can do those questions there at your own practice and practice time, and then ask for help from whoever you'll be asking help from. So myself, I'm done here. Bye bye.